Okay, are we ready? I think I'm ready. Hi, everybody. My name is Colin Wilcox with Extraordinary Concepts, and this is Forked Up. Why is it forked up? Well, I'm just going to give you a story, war stories. First, before I get into war stories, this is my friend over here, his Goldfinger. I love him. He's worked with me for several years, and he's very quiet. So don't mind him. He might chime in if later, if he can. If he does, that'll shock me. So anyway, we're going to talk about a shitty shift, literally. And the reason we have war stories and the purpose of this podcast, if you guys are just tuning in now, is for the customer and for our peers to actually talk about like what it takes for us to honestly put an amazing experience for you, the guests, from putting food on your plate to giving you a good environment and so on. So what does it actually take for us to do that? Because people don't really see the behind the scenes. So we're going to talk about war stories. I'm going to bring in guests. We'll talk about their restaurant, and we'll pick one good war story. So let's talk about the shitty shift, and it was literally shitty, and I'll tell you why. And this is sort of how a day in the restaurant can be. So here we go. You're just jamming out. So we're jamming out on a restaurant, and we got maybe 200, 250 people going. Everything is going smooth. Everything is wonderful. You're in the window or you're watching the floor or whatever the case might be. You might be wherever you are. But everything's going smooth. You'll look around the room and everything's great. Customers are great. Everybody's got their food. The staff's great. Everybody's jumping around and all happy. Excuse me. Gotta have some coffee. It's funny when I do these podcasts. I just kind of I get these frogs in my throat. Anyway, back to the story. Back to the shitty shift. So you got to envision. So this is a packed restaurant. You're on a wait. Everything's going well. Not a problem. You're just loving life. Everything's good. So, but then you have like a waitress issue. So this is like normal. I'm like, hey, Colin, there's an issue with the waitress. You come over, like, what's the matter? My customers suck. I'm like, okay, right off the bat, I know. And now the customer wants to talk to you. So the customer over there, they're really pissed off. And then the waitress is pissed off. The waitress thinks it's the customer thinks it's the waitress, and blah, blah, blah. You know how that all pans out. But no problem. Everything looks good in the shift. It's still going great. Everything in the floor is good. I just got to deal with this one issue. Let me talk to the customer first. But I can't even get to the customer because the waitress is now bawling in the alley, crying. So you go cry in the alley. I got to get to the customer. But before you get to the customer, as you're going over there, Colin, yes, what's going on? The toilet just blew up, and there's this crap all over the place. It's just a mess, and it's just overflowing with crap all over the floor. I'm like, oh, okay. Pissed off customer, crying waitress, crap on the floor. Got it. Let's Let's try to get somebody on the floor. Somebody else on the crappy toilet, and I'll handle the customer. But no, nobody's going on to that, so we got to handle that. But before I go there, before I handle that customer and the crying waitress and the crappy toilet, I got another customer. Somebody said, Colin, there's a customer that just passed out. I'm like, what? Okay, so in your brain, you're like, okay, the window is okay because that's where you were, and that's where the food comes out. And if that food doesn't come out, then all the customers are going to be pissed. But that's going okay. So I got that in my brain. The customer, she's mad anyway, so I'll get to her when I can, but I got to really handle the passed out customer first. The crying waitress is out there in the alley. She's crying, not a big deal. She can cry, but the problem with her crying is now she's not waiting on her tables, so that's going to be an issue soon. Window's okay. Pissed off customer, crap in the toilet, passed out customer. So let's go to the passed out customer. We go over to the passed out customer. Everything okay? What's happening? I'm like, oh, she just felt faint. Not a big deal. She hasn't passed out, but she's okay. Well, that's good. You're safe. Everybody's good. You're safe. Good. Okay, thank you. Here's some water. You calm down. We'll be good. Now, back to the pissed off customer. Now, the pissed off customer is really getting pissed because you haven't addressed her yet. Now, the crap, nobody's doing the toilet, so you got to get to that toilet thing because that's overflowing. And then so you go in the back, you want to check the window. How's everything in the window? And then you look, and then the a kitchen guy comes over and like, Colin. I'm like, what's happening? But sometimes they have, accents. He's like, what? I'm like, oh, you're just bleeding all over the floor. So what's happening is you just severed his finger and he's bleeding all over the floor. Pissed off customer, crap in the toilet, crying waitress in the alley, bleeding all over the floor. I'll do the bleeding all over the floor because there's a safety thing there. Let's see what's happening. I see it. Yes, his finger is very severed. So now you're just kind of like trying to juggle all the staff and trying to juggle all the problems. And now the customer's really pissed because you still haven't got to them. They have no idea that you're dealing with crap and a waitress in the alley and a passed out customer and bleed. They don't know. And some don't even really care, which is a sad part that they don't even really care what you're dealing with. So now, okay, I got him. He's stopping the blood. Hold your hand above your heart so everything is going, so the blood doesn't. Keep that closed, and we'll wrap you up. And then we got to get call a doctor or something like that and sort of see how bad it is. You take care of that. But now you're just kind of like short staffed anyway. And now you still got the crying waitress. Now the tables aren't getting to, and now I got to go deal with the crappy toilet. So this is a shitty shift, people. And now, if you think like I'm just making this stuff up, you're dead wrong. This, in some aspects, it usually goes on in every shift, whether it's all at once or whether it's sometimes you're getting pieces here and there. But that's a shift. So and that's when you just work 70-hour shifts, and you're just you're just basically working on fumes and so on. So anyway, the end of the day, you're probably going in there to clean the toilets because you want to show your employees that, you're not above that. You can go in and clean a bathroom and you can do that kind of stuff. So when you do ask for an employee to do that, then they're saying, okay, well, he'll do it if he could have the chance and so on. So there's a war stories, people, and there are real war stories that happen for the hospitality industry. And and on the top of our mind is, yes, making sure we handle that guest complaint, make sure that guest is happy, and making sure that they walk out happy. And after all these fires are put out, then you can get to the customer. But in the meantime, all the other customers might start to suffer because you couldn't get in the window. But this is just a day in the life of a restaurant person. So please, again, all I ask for all the customers that come and see Restaurant People and in Restaurant People, I'd love to hear your shitty shift story, Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, do whatever you can to support this channel. I think I got two people subscribers. Actually, I don't have anybody because I haven't even put it out yet. But anyway, I would like the customers to have some compassion when you do reviews. Let's go 5 stars. Let's throw some 5 stars in there. And if you're down to 1 and 2 stars, then you really need to contact a manager or sit it out. Wait, make sure like they're not dealing with a shitty shift and they're not dealing with somebody bleeding and a waitress crying and all that stuff before you decide, hey, I'm just out of here. This place is terrible. Okay. So I love all you guys. Deep down in our heart, we want to make sure the customers have a wonderful experience, and there's not anybody that I've ever met that got into the hospitality business that doesn't want that to be so. So thank you very much. Love you guys, and I'll see you at the next video.